Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Aldabra! We are really sorry we couldn't be there today. It's just a little far, but we're really excited to have this opportunity to present to you the different research that's being conducted here on Aldabra. I'm Cheryl, the science coordinator, and here on Aldabra we have a research and a logistics team. Basically, we're intertwined. Without the logistics team, we can't conduct the research, and without the research team, this station would be something completely different. As you'll see, we have a lot going on, and there's just so much more that can be looked at. Fitting everything into a schedule each month can be a bit challenging. Okay, but the work does get carried out due to all the dedicated people we have now, and from all and the many dedicated people we've had working here in the past. But for now, meet the Aldabra team!
Hello everyone, my name is Jake and I am the tourism coordinator.
Hello, I'm Jamona, the field research officer.
Hello, I'm Ronnie / the entertainment officer here. So I'm usually take care with the data entry and mostly I help the research officer that come around the atoll.
Hi, I'm Hannah, the ranger.
Hi everyone, I'm Jessica, I'm field research officer, and that's it.
Now that you've met the team and tortoise LGD, we're going to take you on a quick tour of some of the different monitoring programs that we have going on here. You'll also hear about quite a lot more research that's been going on Aldabra later on within the symposium as well. Now, over the last couple of years, some of the big accomplishment was reviewing some of the various monitoring programs and in turn being able to create very clear and detailed protocols. So that meant either improving upon or even just creating new protocols so that as you have staff turnover, your new staff are able to go through those protocols and have a very clear understanding of the aims, the motivation, history of the monitoring, and also have clear details on the methodologies and even on the data entry steps. Data sets were analyzed in order to determine if the original aims were being met with the data being collected. If not, the programs were restructured in order to meet the aims of the program. For a few of the programs, cyber tracker applications have been made in order to make data collection easier. For these applications, the data can be downloaded directly onto the computer and then uploaded into the designated database, therefore skipping the paper and pencil stage. One such example is for the Turtle Track monitoring program.
Aldabra has one of the largest population of endangered green turtle in the western Indian Ocean. Prior to the Aldabra's protection, green turtle were intensively exploited. 40 years of long-term data were analyzed in part of Dr. Mortimer, who also created the long-term monitoring program in the early 80s, and a 500 to 800% increase in nesting was found between the late 1960s and 2008, which is extraordinary, and the increase appears to have continued since then. Currently, rangers patrol the settlement beach and the West Conter 3 to 4 times per month.
This long-term data provide a way to look at trend and nesting. West Conter and Settlement Beach have been considered index nesting beaches for Aldabra. When looking at the trends on the Settlement Beach since 2000, a clear peak in the nesting can be seen in March, April and May, although nesting is seen all year round. As you can see, 2018 was an exceptional year for emergence, both on Settlement Beach and West Conter. There was a late but well above average peak in emergence on Settlement Beach in June and July, and had over 8,000 emergence compared to the previous highest in 2015 of just over 7,000 emergence. 2018 proved to be an interesting year with a delay of a few months in the peak breeding season. Emergence at West Conte were the second highest on record, being around 200 short, compared to the highest in 2015. As opposed to Settlement Beach, the daily average at West Conte peaked in September. Last year, we analyzed 20 years worth of data on the juvenile turtle population on Aldabra. This data comes from the catching, tagging, measuring, and recapturing of juvenile green and hawksbill turtle within the lagoon. This is a favorite monitoring activity due to the method rodeo, where you jump off the boat to catch the turtles.
We were able to see that the green and hawksbill turtle use the lagoon differently, probably in response to the distribution of their food source. They also exhibit really high sight fidelity. We have recaptured data for juvenile turtles for up to 9 years.
There is a long-term tagging program of nesting turtle as well. However, that story is for another day. Another very iconic species on Aldabra beside the sea turtle is definitely the giant tortoises.
Giant tortoise research has been taking place for decades on Aldabra. Aldabra hosts one of the largest wild giant tortoise populations in the world. SIF staff do the tortoise monitoring internally. However, there was a collaboration that was set up in 2011 with the University of Zurich, and the platform is called ZARP, so the Zurich Aldabra Research Platform. And the aim of it is to assist Aldabra and SIF staff with the research monitoring. What it also does is open up a window for having targeted projects. One recent project through the ZARP platform includes that done by Wilfredo Falcon, investigating the Aldabra seed dispersal network. He sampled fruit and frugivore interactions through observations, camera traps, and fecal analysis in order to construct a seed dispersal network. He found that the seed dispersal network has high connectivity with blue pigeons and giant tortoises as the two most central species.
Under the new protocol, tortoises are monitored by two different methods, distance transit and sweep survey. Distance transit allowed population estimate to be made and also allowed us to continue following long-term trends. The distance transit used a range finder in order to measure distance accurately, which is the key assumption for estimating the population. The sweep survey provides vital information on tortoise biology, such as size, sex, and age. For example, it will tell how many males and females are distributed in an area and how it's changed over time. Also, how the number of juvenile and dead tortoises are encountered over time, giving insight into the recruitment and mortality of the population. The sweep survey are recorded directly on digital data recording device called Trimble. The survey are designed to be done twice a year at a different location around the atoll. Part of the revamping of the tortoise program was include vegetation as a factor. While some of the old transit were changed a little, other new ones were cut in order to increase certain habitat type surveyed. The first distance transit with the rangefinder were completed in early 2018, and the first sweep survey were completed in later 2017.
Aldabra giant tortoises were highly exploited, leaving a severely depleted population by the end of the 19th century, with still few seen by 1900. The first population estimate was done in 1973, with an estimated 129,000 tortoises. A repeat census was performed in 1997, estimating 100,000 tortoises. Due to the recent restructuring of the tortoise program, we've been able to do an estimate for surveys that were conducted in early 2018 during the wet season, which has estimated just over 130,000 giant tortoises. It's crazy. The confidence intervals are large, ranging from 82,000 to 208,000, and we're investigating if there is a possibility to decrease them. However, the estimate falls similarly to what was seen in previous estimates, this time taking habitat into account. The distance transects from which the estimate is derived follow key assumptions that must be followed. By doing this, we're able to analyze the number of tortoises per habitat type. So in this analysis, habitat type is incredibly key. So habitat type per island. And with that, in the end, you're able to add that all up between the 4 islands. Now, as you can imagine, some habitat types are much more important than other ones, and some have such a small density that they aren't even included in the final calculation. So as you can see, we have a little bit of polishing to do to try to reduce those margins of error, but it's a very exciting time for tortoise monitoring here. The review of the tortoise program proved highly beneficial, but that also goes for the tropic birds.
Aldabra supports the largest breeding population of the white-tailed and red-tailed tropic birds. The monitoring is done every 2 weeks on the islets near the station. We monitor the vegetation, the adult presence, the nest outcomes, the nest types, and the nest stages of the red-tailed and white-tailed tropic birds. Since 2010, the long-term data showed a decline in the red-tailed tropic bird nest attempt compared to the white-tailed tropic birds, which are stable. The monitoring data from 2009 to 2016 was analyzed and found that, on average, for each species, only 15% of nests were successful and 70 to 75% of unsuccessful nests failed at the egg stage. It also found significant decreases in fledging probability for both species. Last, the analysis found that the data doesn't support one initial hypothesis that rats are the main driver of nest failure.
The analysis sparked a comparative study on breeding success and nesting attempts throughout the wider Seychelles. The analysis also highlighted the need to have a targeted project that delved more into the specifics of the ecology and breeding biology of tropic birds here on Aldabra. We were very privileged to have seabird ecologist Dr. Annette Fayette, a junior research fellow from the University of Oxford, join the Aldabra team for 2 seasons, at the beginning of 2018 and the beginning of 2019, with aims to investigate the foraging ecology of red-tailed and white-tailed tropic birds, to measure the extent of specialization between the species to possibly avoid competition, and identify drivers of red-tailed poor breeding success on Aldabra. A variety of methods were used, including GPS tags, immersion light and depth loggers, nest-based cameras, and diet analysis in order to get as complete of a story as possible. The first season involved a lot of troubleshooting to fine-tune methods, but revealed 2 main but different predators for each of the species. Cameras were deployed on over 30 nests, with nest sites expanded from the tropic bird monitoring islets, sampled only in the first season, to a further set of islets also sampled in the second season to account for any biases. Early results show that there are several predators that could be contributing to poor breeding success, including gray herons, crows, rats, other tropic birds, and even heavy rainfall. The second season has shown that the birds travel much further than we thought, and preliminary results suggest the species may be feeding in different areas as well. SIF staff will continue the study by collecting deployed tags throughout the year. The importance of long-term data could not be exemplified better, and the importance of having targeted projects to help address those long-term trends even more so. Other species of seabird we monitor include frigatebirds.
Aldabra hosts one of the largest frigate colonies in the Indian Ocean and possibly the world. It is also one of a few places where we see a mix of both greater and lesser frigatebirds, so naturally we try to study them as much as possible. Our current research efforts started in 2011 and while still quite young, are already proving a lot of insight. It is estimated that around 11,000 pairs call Aldabra home. In order to estimate the frigatebird population, we based our work on a study by Revel in 1977. He indicated that the optimal time was January-February, so we put on a hat, pack lunch, and jump in our smallest boats and drive up and down the coastline counting adults and chicks. This is when both species are coming to the end of their breeding cycle and focused on rearing their mature chicks. Overall, we are seeing a general fluctuation in the numbers of individuals seen during this period. When looking from one year to another, it can seem dramatic, but this could also be showing a more stable population. The population here on Aldabra is made up of lesser adults in the thousands and greater adults in the hundreds, the remainder being chicks, which are often difficult to differentiate as they're so young. Another aspect of our monitoring is to understand the breeding cycle of both species by following particular nesting areas on a monthly basis. In late 2017, we started travelling across the atoll to the largest breeding colonies to count the presence of both lesser and greater frigates and their chicks. While this study has been short, due to end this year, it has been invaluable as it has given us a better understanding of what each species is most active during courtship, laying of eggs, and rearing their chicks. Frigatebirds in this undisturbed setting of Aldabra have so much to tell us. Being largely left alone, we get an understanding of how they behave. With this information, we're able to feed these back into other conservation groups in order to help them better understand their frigatebird colonies, as well as develop better techniques and advocate for their protection. Quite applicable to frigatebirds is their reliance on the marine realm, which is the Aldabra subsistence fishery.
A small-scale subsistence fishery is operated around Aldabra for staff consumption. Fishing trips are monitored to provide detailed information on the impacts of fishing on Aldabra's fish communities, especially as they are important components of a functioning marine ecosystem. The subsistence fishery has been monitored since the 1990s. Fast forward to 2016, the Aldabra Management Plan introduced 6 food security zones around the atoll, where bottom fishing for demersal species is designated. Outside of these zones are classified as no-take areas, providing protection for fish. Trolling for pelagic species, which are highly mobile, is not restricted by zonation. Staff collect data on the amount of time spent fishing at sea and the number of lines deployed. We capture the coordinates for fish catch locations, and we also ID fish to species level and measure their lengths. Using the scientific data gathered, we can calculate fish biomass and quantify how much effort goes into catching fish over time. As a result, we can look into possible changes to fish composition and size, allowing SIF to assess whether we are causing negative impacts to Aldabra's fish populations. Analysis of historic catch data identified now 7 protected species vulnerable to low levels of exploitation, and when caught are now released. The composition of our catch is mainly comprised of snappers, emperors, groupers, jacks and tunas. The fishing of invertebrates, herbivorous fish and sharks is strictly forbidden. Managed and regulated fishing activities conserve fish abundance and diversity into the future. aid in reef resilience to combat pressures such as coral bleaching events. As a result, fish biomass on Aldabra is 10 times greater than that of the inner islands. Not only does Aldabra hold a higher fish biomass than other parts of the Seychelles.
Aldabra holds the last stronghold for dugong in the Seychelles. In 2012, 5 days of helicopter, gyrocopter flights looking for dugongs around Aldabra revealed a fairly large viable dugong population, including calves. Calves suggest that Aldabra could be an important nursing or calving ground. Opportunistic sighting over the years confirmed dugong sighting each year as well. A full-out dugong project to estimate population and determine movement is a high priority for SIF.
There are a number of other monitoring projects which keep the Aldabra staff extremely busy. We love to share more details of them all with you, but there isn't enough time for today. These monitoring programs are done on a monthly and seasonal basis and provide long-term data sets that are also to be analyzed. Marine monitoring, which will be covered by Jennifer shortly, and invasive species surveillance and management include much more about biosecurity measures, which Christina will tell you more about.
In addition to the monitoring programs carried out, the past few seasons have seen an increase in collaboration and visiting researchers, heightening the research station to an international level.
This includes studies with collaborative groups looking at the last integration to collecting sample from microplastic analysis. There will also be presentation later this afternoon by Annabelle, April and Anna, who are working on or have completed their fieldwork here on Aldabra. The opportunities for research on Aldabra are endless.
So as some would say, not every day on Aldabra is full of rainbows, even though it's just as pretty when it's not full of rainbows. But anyways, there are quite a lot of challenges here. These are partially due to where we are. You know, the isolation is what has made this place so wonderful. But it also makes it a bit difficult to work. The terrain's rough, everything breaks. You know, if we need to do our marine monitoring and a boat engine breaks, it's challenging. One of the biggest challenges in the last couple of years, besides, you know, equipment failing, and isolation, has been the databases. The last couple of years have seen incredible progress on databases, where data has been centralized into one database instead of multiple spreadsheets. Otherwise, we're able to generally get through most things because of the team we have, the combination of skills and people we have, the logistics team, the research team. Therefore, you know, bring on the challenges. Even with the big challenges faced here, the Aldabra program has and continues to achieve an incredible amount of research, both through long-term monitoring programs and targeted projects. This feeds back into management decisions in order to help conserve Aldabra. The work is highly diverse, from species to habitat monitoring, with various aspects of ecology covered and different levels of research involved. An unbelievable amount of people have and will continue to contribute towards the research program and to play a part in protecting Aldabra. It is a living laboratory on Aldabra and is truly a privilege to live and work here.
Cool. Thank you for watching our video. We hope that you enjoyed it.
If you like more information about the work we do here, don't hesitate to contact the nearest SIF next to you or sign up to our newsletter. Thank you.
We'll be waiting for you.
So we'll be waiting for you in the future. This is the job and this is the life.